I spent this past summer interning in Madrid, Spain. And often when I'd get out of work, my friends would be in class. So I would wander the streets of Madrid looking for a place to have lunch. I'd go up and down alleys, I'd go down new streets, I'd look at menus of the day. And one day I walked into a grocery store, El Corte Inglés. In the grocery store, I continued my pattern of exploring. And I found myself in a relatively large group of people that were swarming what seemed to be an equivalent to an American deli counter. I guess I'd found the best place to get food. Yet, as I stood in the crowd, my palms got sweaty, my breath shortened. I was getting nervous. See, one thing I got accustomed to in Madrid was the slower pace to life compared to the busyness back home. But at that moment in time, I felt I was back at the busiest deli you can imagine. So, standing in the crowd, I stepped away. I walked away. I walked away out of intimidation. In this foreign and fast-paced environment, I was sure of one thing, that I was not going to be the one to mess up nor stand out. So now, standing away from the crowd, I watched. I watched their customs. I watched their body language. I watched what they were going to order. And after several hesitations, I went for it. I stuck to the crowd. I grabbed a ticket, number 72. 72, 72. That was me. That was my ticket. Now confident, due to my preparations, I strut up to the counter once again, but this time to order. And the man behind the counter looks at me and he goes, ¿Qué quieres? What would you like? And it was at that moment in time, I forgot everything. He looked at me again, this time a little bit louder and a little bit frustrated. ¿Qué quieres? My eyes darted towards some pasta and I said, Pasta, por favor. He asked me what size, and in my haste, I agreed to the first option. And he handed me back a relatively large portion of pasta. And I went to check out. When I went to check out, I had to smile. I had to laugh. I was uncomfortable at a deli. I was uncomfortable at a grocery store. I just ordered pasta at a deli. Yet, these are the common everyday interactions that speaking another language can teach you to be better prepared to succeed in. I can now walk into any party, any meeting, know no one there, have no idea what's going on, yet feel confident. And I can feel confident because if I can order pasta at El Corte Inglés in Madrid, I can do anything. I'm currently in the midst of becoming fluent in Spanish, and it's something I take great pride in. And let me tell you this, learning a language is not easy. Yet, instead of writing it off as too difficult, it's time we embrace the challenge of learning a language, that we see it as an opportunity rather than a chore. And so, where did my Spanish journey begin? It began in elementary school, like many of you in this room, and it began when the Spanish teacher would roll the Spanish cart into the classroom and be greeted by a collective sigh. Everybody knows that collective sigh. It's that same sigh when a teacher goes, today class, we're going to have a pop quiz. Or you're at your favorite restaurant, you look at the menu, you pick out your entree, you order your entree and the waiter tells you, I'm sorry, we're all out. Yet that collective sigh is what sticks with so many students through their language learning careers. And it's leading to some alarming numbers. From the fall of 2009 to the fall of 2013, enrollment in languages other than English from US graduate and undergraduate students dropped 6.5%. And from the fall of 2013, the numbers have only gotten worse. From the fall of 2013 to the fall of 2016, enrollment in languages other than English dropped another 9%. And these numbers concern me because as a language learner, I've learned how learning a language stretches your brain in unique ways. When one gives up learning a language, they give up the opportunity to improve their attention span, improve their attention to detail skills, get better at their first language, and broaden their perspective to the world. So, I've told you a few of the many benefits to learning a language. And these are just a few that I have experienced myself. And let me walk you through an example. I mentioned attention to detail. And attention to detail is applicable for no matter your career. Whether you're a writer, placing a comma in the right spot, whether you're a painter, shading your painting, or for myself as a business student, recognizing patterns in financial statements. The verb to speak in Spanish is hablar. In the present tense, I form, I speak is yo hablo. In the past tense, I spoke is yo hablé. The difference between those two words is one letter and one accent mark. Yet it completely changes the word. And when you learn a language, you get used to those details. You get used to recognizing those patterns, and it trickles into your career. It trickles into your other academic classes, and you will succeed. So now, I've walked you through an example. I have talked about a few of the many benefits to learning a language, yet I'm still brought to this question. Why is it that students are dropping the subject? Why is it that students are dropping the subject? And I believe that students are dropping the subject because learning a language tests many of the skills that we neglect from early on in our lives. There's nothing exact about learning a language. For every grammar rule, there's an exception. For every verb, there's an irregular one. Just when you think you know what you're doing, you fall flat on your face. And this process, it's frustrating. Yet, it can be fun. And learning a language often brings us back to our original roots of paper and pencil. Yes, paper and pencil. In an ever-digitalized world, I'm talking about paper and pencil. And you may tell me there are translators, and you're correct. Yet when the test is handed out, or you're stuck at a deli counter in Madrid with no cell service, you either know the words or you don't. We are used to having answers at the tip of our fingers. It's one of the blessings of the internet. However, the reality of life is that not all answers are on ask.com or Wikipedia. Often you need to dig deep, explore, write to only have to rewrite. And this process of learning is put to the test every single time you learn a language. And if you begin to embrace that learning process, you can begin to learn a language and grow past that collective sigh that plagues our learning careers. And nonetheless, you will become more powerful than your phone. A language. A language is like many things in life. The more you practice, the better you get. Yet, we often give up before it begins to get easier when you learn a language. When you're looking at a page full of words you don't know, it's a lot easier to give up than learn. You tell yourself you're not good enough. You tell yourself you can't do it. You tell yourself you're not smart enough. I've been there. I was there that day in El Corte Inglés in Madrid. 12 years of Spanish, 5 weeks in Madrid, and I couldn't order a sandwich? Yet, that's the thing about learning a language. It's difficult. It's hard. And I'm not here to tell you that learning a language is easy. I'm here to tell you it will get easier. I don't speak 5 languages. I don't have any Spanish relatives. I still struggle every single day in Spanish class. Yet, if we begin to embrace that struggle, it can help you learn any language. When I was in middle school, I realized that if I told a joke in Spanish, the class would laugh. So I began to pay attention for the sole purpose to tell jokes. It worked. The class laughed. Yet, what I didn't realize was that I was unintentionally getting better at the language. By smiling, by laughing, by embracing the struggle, I was getting better at Spanish. And if you begin to do that, if you begin to embrace that mindset, you can become bilingual. You can become trilingual. You can communicate on your next vacation. And noun by noun, verb by verb, you can learn a language. And why do we learn languages? Well, we learn languages because we will fail, we will succeed, and we will be royally uncomfortable at times. Yet these are the moments that define us and build our character. And isn't it obvious? We learn a language so we can order a sandwich. So today, I hope to leave you with this. Languages are connections to the world. They're keys to unlock opportunities. And with a change in mindset, we can transform the numbers of the future. Thank you.